Well, hello. Welcome to Friday, everybody, and welcome to Q&A Friday. This is where we answer your VO questions and hopefully get you set up and prepared for more VO down the line. We do this every Friday Friday morning for me, afternoon for you, maybe even evening for you. Who knows? Um, but we do these huddles live every single weekday at 9 a.m. Pacific time, US. So, welcome to it. My name is Mike Hathcote. I'm a full-time voiceover talent. I've been doing this since about 95, and glad you're here. Glad it's Friday. Today or this week has been a really busy week, so it's going to be nice to kind of chill out for a little bit. So let's answer some questions. And by the way, don't forget to like and subscribe and smash that notification bell so that you can get notified when we go live. And of course, chime in on the live feed just to let us know where you're watching and listening from. And all right, let's get to it. Hit me with your questions, VO questions, or it can be questions about anything else, really. So let's get to it. Looks like John from Denver is first in today. Welcome, John. Ethan says, TGIF from Toronto, Ontario. Wayne, also live from Port Orchard, Washington. And there's Kurt from Greenville, South Carolina. Sarah, woohoo, it's Friday, checking in from Kentucky. Becky says, hello from the mitten, or happy Friday from the mitten. Happy Friday to you, Becky. Dennis, hello from Illinois. All right, first question comes from Wayne. When I use the heel brush Band-Aid icon, I thought there was a way to hold the line straight and steady so we could swoop straight down. Okay. I'm not able to share my screen on the live feed, Wayne. I'm trying to see if I can understand what you mean there. Thought there was a way to hold the line straight and steady so we could swoop straight down. I actually don't use that heel brush. What I use is I use the marquee tool if I'm trying to get really, really detailed and intricate and figure out what that one little hot spot that I'm trying to get rid of. I'll take the marquee tool and just drag and select just the spot, and then I'll auto heal it. With Adobe Audition and all the DAWs, really, there's a lot of different ways to do certain things. There's no one specific way. That's the way I do it. What I would suggest, Wayne, is maybe ask Alex in our Tuesday night tech webinar for the voiceover blueprint. Alex DeWeese, who is obviously Bill's son and a professional audio engineer. He hosts the Tuesday tech webinars on Tuesday nights for us. So maybe just ask him, because without switching over and looking at it right now, Wayne, I'm sorry, I can't really diagnose that. Alex says, happy Friday from Utah. Robert Taylor, hello from Atlanta. Robert, I hope you're ready to record today. We got you coming up. We're recording Robert's demo today, and he is going to do fantastic. Sandra says, good afternoon from London, Ontario. Tim from Austin, Texas. Good morning. What is your microphone of choice? It's this one. This is a Sennheiser 416. MKH 416 is the official name of it. And I love this. I've used this for probably 3 or 4 years. I've also got a Neumann TLM 103 that I used before this one, but I like this one because it's a shotgun mic, and a shotgun mic is directional, meaning that it only picks up things that are right in front of it. So anything over to the side, you can still hear stuff, but it really is made to pick up what's right in front of it. And you'll also probably recognize it from when you see people like in movies where they have the boom guy and they're holding up the pole up here and they're putting it just out of frame. It's because it's pointed right at the person talking, so they don't have to have any sort of microphone on them. and it's pointing right down to the person that's, speaking right out of frame so that it'll pick them up. So this is the microphone I use. It's very forgiving if you have kind of a, not the greatest space, which mine is great, but I still love this microphone. So that's the 416. Oh, let's see. Johnny says, "Good morning from where did the winter go? Florida." I guess it's hopefully warming up there a little bit. Corey J from Whitehall, Wisconsin. Good morning to you. Jason says, "Good morning from Kearney, Nebraska." And there's JJ. "Love having my VO family. Sunny in Minnesota." Isn't that a TV show? I'm just kidding. Sunny in Philadelphia. Celeste says, "Hello from Newark, Delaware." And there's Nephi from Knoxville. Lynette from Nevada. Kathleen says, "I've got a problem with essing. I've tried using the de-esser in Adobe Audition, but the setting isn't helping. What do you suggest? Please and thank you." That's a good one. You might want to look into some of the aftermarket plugins. If the de-esser that's built into Adobe Audition isn't working, I actually have that applied in my own effects rack. I have a de-esser in the mix there, and because I don't have a bad problem with it, but every now and then I'll get there. So what I would do is maybe just trying adjusting the strength of the de-esser, because there's a little way that you can make it, stronger or less. But then if you still can't get it figured out, maybe just try something from waves.com. In fact, I think they might call it de-esser too. Anyway, waves.com is a great resource for lots of aftermarket plugins for that kind of thing. I use the Waves NS1 plugin for my noise floor, noise reduction. Just put a little bit of that on there, and it kind of takes away a lot of that noise floor. But that's what I would try. Also try maybe your mic proximity too. Where your mic is placed in relation to where your mouth is. Sometimes just a little slight change is enough to fix that. Professor Tracy says, "Good morning from Rochester. Question, where can I upload my demos for free and then send a link in my email?" Gosh, any cloud storage platform. Google Drive, Dropbox, Microsoft OneDrive. Um, there's just a million. So any of those, and then all you have to do is hit the share button usually on most of them, and it'll give you a link that you can then put in your email. But I wouldn't do that, because that makes them have to download it to hear it. So if you're doing email marketing, the best way to showcase your demos is to just point them to your website and put a link in the email body to your website. So if you don't have a website yet, I would think about that. But if you're going to use a cloud storage device, it'll allow you to share that link with the viewer. Mark says, "Hello from Montreal. We have a very strong Canadian contingency on this live feed, and that's cool." Sandra says, "Good morning from DFW. Happy Friday, everyone." Theo says, "Happy Friday from downtown Chicago." Chip says, "Looking to downgrade my internet from gig speed to save a few bucks. Recommendations for minimal speed for directed sessions." Man, sorry about my voice. I don't know what's going on with my voice today, but I don't know. I always think more is better when it comes to internet speed. In fact, we just upgraded about 2 months ago to fiber, and you know, I I guess my best suggestion there, Chip, would be whatever gig speed you have, make sure that you're hardwired into your computer. So in other words, don't rely on your Wi-Fi. Um, that is a much more stable and quicker connection, even if you downgrade. your internet speed and for your whole house, I mean, I'm sure you're gonna use Wi-Fi for your other stuff, but always make sure that the computer you're working with is hardwired, especially if you're gonna be doing, like, Source Connect sessions and stuff like that, directed sessions. Make sure you can get it hardwired, even if you've gotta run a long cable from the modem somewhere in the other part of the house to your computer. Luckily, I was able to kind of configure mine to where I actually poked it back out of the outside of the house and popped it up and then back into the office here, but hardwired, 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 whatever speed you go with, hardwire. James says, "Good afternoon from Exeter in Southwest England." Well, good afternoon to you, sir. Andrew says, "Good morning/evening from Latvia." We are worldwide on this thing today. Joe says, "When will voiceover blueprint sessions start?" Oh, they're always well, hopefully, I don't know. I hope I'm reading that right. If you mean the webinars, the webinars all start at 4 p.m. Pacific time US. So 4 p.m. I almost said specific time. 4 p.m. Pacific time US, and they are as follows: Monday, marketing with me; Tuesday, tech with Alex; Wednesday, Fiverr with John Drennan; Thursday, performance with Mary Winkle; and Friday, Upwork with Kayla Brick. So those are our 5 live webinars every week, and then I have another one on Wednesday mornings where it's just kind of a general blueprint Q&A questions kind of thing. So we have a total of 6 live webinars every week for the VoiceOver Blueprint. Now, if you're not a member of the VoiceOver Blueprint, you can't attend those. So you have to be in the Blueprint. If you want more information on that, check out the description to learn more. Alex says, "Are you up with Fiverr? I'm setting up my account and recently heard a suggestion from another YouTube coach to, in 2025, start with $10 base charge because $5 jobs are going by the wayside." Yeah, okay, so here's the thing with Fiverr. And yes, I'm still on Fiverr, and I have been for probably, I don't know, 5 years now. Hey, Fiverr for 5 years. Um, if you're just starting out, and yes, you're correct, $5 jobs, a lot of people think that Fiverr is just $5 jobs, and when they first started, that was true. Now, you can charge whatever you want. So, what I would suggest you do if you're just starting out is look at other new sellers because you wanna be apples to apples, right? You wanna compare yourself to other sellers. You don't wanna overprice when you're brand new, and then this guy over here is brand new and he's less, right? So, a lot of people will start, kind of at that same level. So, um, if you wanna start with a base charge of $10, then it's just a matter of how many words are you willing to do for those $10, right? Um, so just kind of figure that out and kinda see where the sweet spot is for you. As you start moving up the seller levels, then you can start raising your rates. Another tip or tactic that you can use is start with a pretty medium starting rate, and that's for the first 100 words or whatever you want to do. And then the next 100 words and every 100 words after that, you go up. So you've got an intro rate, and then as they go up in word count, then you go up in price. So that's another option for you too. Andrew says it was sunny yesterday in Latvia. Okay, cool. I'm guessing it's not sunny there often. Was that kind of an odd thing to happen? Voice 156 says, "Greetings from Holland. I made a VO booth, and would that mic help with it not sounding so small?" It's not gonna help with it not sounding small, but it will help if your booth is not, shall we say, the most soundproof. And really, no booth is soundproof. I mean, NASA maybe has some soundproof booths, but you're never going to have your booth 100% soundproof. But what you want to have your booth, there's two things you want to have your booth. You want to keep as much of the outside sound out as you can, right? So that's just the way the booth is made, and you also want to deaden it inside. So this kind of a microphone, this shotgun microphone will help with the first part, which is the outside sound. So if you've got things happening outside, like maybe you got a truck that's pulling up. I live here in a cul-de-sac, and this window that I'm looking out here, if there's a truck or something pulling through the cul-de-sac, then I can hear it, but what's great is the mic cannot hear it. So that's kinda cool. So any shotgun mic is a directional microphone and is only made to pick up what's directly in front of it. So that probably would help for any kind of, extraneous noise. Chris says, "Chris from Battleground, Washington." Johnny says, "Are there any sort of jobs, projects, or the like that a new VO would avoid for reputation reasons?" Well, that's a really good question. I mean, obviously, if you have something against, erotica or political stuff or, that kind of thing, you would obviously, that's your decision. Some people won't do political because they are on the opposite side of the aisle or whatever, and that's fine. Um, but really, it's just kind of up to you. You know, I don't really know of any kind of reputational situations that would kind of throw you off there. So really, it's just it's your call at that point. I honestly can't think of anything right off the top of my head, unless it's something really objectionable. Like I don't know, just off the top of my head, like Nazi propaganda or something like that, but once again, that all falls on you to decide whether or not that's your calling. So, it's a good question though. Wish I had more of a had a better answer. Robert says, "Can you please explain the differences, pros and cons of metal versus nylon pop filters and double pop filters?" I'm not a big time gearhead. I mean, I find something that works and I use it and I keep it. Um, I mean, metal versus nylon. I honestly, to be honest, I don't know. I mean, and I would say double pop filters just means it would be double the protection for your plosives. I don't even have a pop filter. I've got this sock that came with this. I can pull it off of there, and there's the actual microphone. But the I don't have a lot of problem with plosives, so I don't really need a pop filter per se. Because really, another way to fix, or not to fix, but to avoid the problems that require a pop filter, a lot of people think that they should be talking directly into the microphone, and that's gonna create a lot of plosives. You always wanna be talking past the microphone. So, never talk directly into it, right? So, past the microphone, have it be kind of at a 45-degree, off axis kind of angle, and, talk straight ahead, microphone's coming down like that. Oh, JJ says, "I use the Isotope de-esser too." Yeah, that's another brand of aftermarket plugins you can use for de-essing and declicking and all that kind of stuff. Isotope is another brand for that. Ron says, "Good morning from Grand Haven, Michigan." Chris says, "Question, I have dentures and seem to have a lot of mouth noise. Would a shotgun mic help reduce this?" I don't think so. A shotgun mic really will not help reduce, mouth noise. I worked with someone probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago who was an older gentleman who did have dentures. His problem wasn't, uh, mouth clicks per se, but it was the dentures kind of smacking, if that's what you'd wanna call it. And so that was his issue, but as far as mouth clicks, the best way to reduce those is just organically, meaning stay hydrated, um, keep your mouth open in between phrasing. Don't shut your mouth every time you're finished with a line. Keep your mouth kind of open. That's one less pop that can happen. Another thing, a lot of people use gum, not while they're recording, obviously, but in between, just to kind of keep everything kind of cleared out. And then, of course, if you just can't fix them on the input, You gotta tackle them, manually after the fact in post, which is, using things like auto heal, using, a declicker plugin, and just taking care of them that way. But I honestly don't think a shotgun mic would make much difference there. Theo says SoundCloud is a good option for a free place to put your demo where people are one click away from playing it, no downloading needed. That's true. I'm just not a fan, and I use SoundCloud from time to time for certain things, but I'm not a fan of using SoundCloud in my marketing. I would avoid that because what ends up happening is it takes them to SoundCloud to listen to it, and then they get bombarded with a lot of other things after that, So, I'd be careful. If you're just sharing it with like an individual person, they ask you for something and you can send it to them, that's fine. But as far as on your regular marketing, I would not use SoundCloud. Plus, it's just not that professional. That's why a website is really the best place to showcase your demos if you're doing direct marketing. Much more professional. Alex says, short of using a website, would putting the demos on YouTube be a good idea? Um, same answer on that. Same as SoundCloud. Because if you put it on YouTube, they're gonna get bombarded with other stuff after the fact, after they listen to your demo. Plus, if you put it on YouTube and you just kinda have a static photo of yourself or an image, it has to be a video to put it on YouTube, so then you've gotta actually convert it to video. Um, Now if you've got a video demo, and I'll probably do a whole lesson on that, I definitely suggest doing a video demo if you've got a professionally produced demo. Adding video to it just makes all the difference, and we'll talk about that later, but Um, that's another one that I would probably try to avoid if it were me. Now, I mean, it's possible, yes, to do that, and if you wanna do that, go for it, but I think that's not a very professional look. David says, "Appreciate your short and sweet tips this past week from Hamilton, Ontario." Thank you, David, I appreciate that. Try to be as succinct as possible, that's kinda what this is all about. Andrew says, "In winter, it's mostly cloudy." Oh, that's in Latvia, okay. Well, that makes sense. Voice 156 says, "Thank you for the tips. Have a great weekend." And you too, sir or ma'am. I don't know if Voice 156. Uh, you too. Wayne says, "Rob and I both used Isotope RX11 mouth declick." Yeah, Isotope is another aftermarket plugin, and, they all work great. But you wanna try to fix it on the input if possible, and that'll just make the post that much, easier. Rob says, "No question from Wadsworth, Ohio. Glad to have you." Well, thank you, Rob. I'm Bob, sorry. Glad to have you. Robert says, "Thanks for the earlier answer. I'm watching from Spain, by the way. Another question, if possible, please. Do you recommend adding music to demos and auditions?" Okay, excellent question. If you have the skill set to add music and sound effects to a demo, then yes. Remember, when you're out there marketing yourself, you are basically competing against every other voiceover talent who's trying to get that person to hire them, right? Most pro quality demos do have music and sound effects because you want your sound to be as realistic as possible. And most spots and videos out there have some sort of music or sound effects. If you don't have the skill set to do that, then just keep it dry because you don't wanna complicate things and make it sound even worse if you don't have that skill set. Um, that's why getting a producer, someone who can actually make your demo sound as realistic as possible is the way to go if you can, financially swing that. Now as far as auditions go, I would say no, but with a kind of an asterisk. One the one day, probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, I got an audition for a video game trailer, and I decided, you know what? The way I read this, I think, and I do have the skill set to be able to add music to it. I thought that the way I read that trailer needed something else, some dramatic music. And so I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna try it. So I put some music on it for the audition, sent it in, and guess who got the job? So there's not there's not like a definite answer, but as a general rule, I do not add music to my auditions because a lot of times they will take your audition and plug it into their own music track or whatever so that they can kind of really hear what you're going to sound like with their content. um, it just so happened that I don't know what caused me to add the music to that one audition, but it actually worked and I got the job. So who knows, right? But I'd say generally probably not on auditions. Leave it dry. Edward says, "Thanks, Mike. Great insights. Have a great one." Thank you, Edward. Kirk says, "Ouch, I paid for a GoDaddy website and it only allows for a SoundCloud link and YouTube link on the homepage." Okay, yes and no, though. Here's the thing about the SoundCloud link on the YouTube builder. I'm sorry, on the GoDaddy builder. The good thing about the SoundCloud link is that it still keeps them on your website, Kirk. So putting a SoundCloud link in an email will take them to SoundCloud, which you do not want. But the built-in player on the GoDaddy builder keeps them on your website. So it's basically just a player. So they can still play the demo right on your website. So you're not sending them somewhere else. So that's okay. Same with the video link. It doesn't take them to YouTube to watch your video. They can still watch your video on your website. So that's okay. So don't feel bad about that because that is actually that's okay. So hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions about that, let me know. But the GoDaddy player is embedded into your website. It does not send them to SoundCloud. So you're good. Alexa says, "Don't forget to like." Yes, don't forget to like. I said it at the top, but I'm going to say it again. Don't forget to like. Johnny says, "Just to further my question about reputation, I'm considering some indie projects with tiny budgets that are in my interest of video games and animation. Would a small pay preclude me from the real stuff?" No, no, not at all. Who's gonna know? For one thing, who's gonna, if you get an audition from one of your agents for a spot for BMW or something, do you think they're gonna know that you did some indie spot a year ago? They're not gonna know that. So no, don't worry about that. Um, your goal should be to fill your day up with work, right? And then once you get your day full of work, then you can start being a little more discerning about how much, you're willing to work for. But at the beginning, especially if you're trying to do this as a full-time job, you know, fill up your day as much as you can, and then you can start to kind of trim the fat. Kirk says, "Beautiful. Thanks, boss. You're welcome. I'm glad you got that because, the main thing about that GoDaddy builder and this is the website builder that I use or used for years, when I first started doing this. So it's really a good functional website builder, especially if you don't have a lot of, tech background and coding and that kind of thing. So yeah, you should be good to go on that, Kirk. John says you can add an MP3 file directly on GoDaddy pages as well. Okay, good to know. Um, Another thing, and if you do have some coding and HTML type background, there is actually a way that you can embed snippets of code. So you could upload a anything really. I mean, if you know how to go get snippets from other places, there is a place where you can add custom code to your website and upload anything you want. So you can find some builder or some codes for some players out there, upload them, you're good to go. Okay, I think we are at the bottom of the questions and we're at the bottom of the hour. Perfect timing. Well, guys, I want you all to have a great weekend. I'll see you back here on Monday. This was a great first week of me hosting these things, and I truly appreciate everyone who has been chiming in and kind of giving me some great support. And we're going to continue to do so. Once again, if you want to learn any more about kind of what we do in the voiceover blueprint, I know we've got a lot of people in the blueprint who are actually in the chat. Check out the links below, and you can learn more about it. And that's all I got. Until Monday, have a great weekend and break a lip.